Hey guys, welcome back to SuperMarvelSpider-Man. Today we're back with another video. We react to Charlie's D'Amelio's Pretty Privilege expired now. Before that, what happened to Charlie D'Amelio? Like, everyone back then used to talk about her back in 2020. Now what happened now? What happened now? No one doesn't talk about her anymore. Why does no one talk about her anymore? Did she get a downfall or something? Because I have not heard that in a while. But today we're gonna find out to the video reacting to Ryan Pictures. This guy, I don't know this guy. This guy is like those Sunny V2 inspired. But we're gonna find out what happened.
Charlie went from rich Connecticut teenager to TikTok's biggest star practically overnight after her breakthrough with the Renegade dance in October 2019, which exploded her to 5 million followers and led to TikTok users calling her the CEO of Renegade. By March 2020, when COVID hit and everyone was stuck inside scrolling endlessly, she became the most followed TikTok star with over 40 million followers. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Charlie's meteoric rise had almost nothing to do with exceptional dancing skills and everything to do with being attractive to the algorithm and teenage audiences, because she can't dance. All she does is lightly shake her hips to whatever TikTok trend is going on. We're talking about basic, repetitive movements that any high schooler could learn in 10 minutes, and even Charlie herself has no idea why she blew up. But what Charlie had was the perfect combination of conventional attractiveness, relatability, and timing. She was pretty and just wholesome enough to appeal to parents, while being attractive enough to capture the attention of teenagers, who are the largest demographic, making up 36% of all users on TikTok. The algorithm loved her because she represented the ideal that social media platforms want to promote, someone who looks effortlessly perfect while appearing relatable to every teenager. This is fundamentally different from creators who build fame on actual value. Take someone like Mr. Beast, whose success came from revolutionary content ideas, incredible production value, and genuine entertainment. Or take a look at skilled dancers who've been perfecting their craft for decades but never achieved a fraction of Charlie's success because they didn't fit the algorithm's beauty standards. And the Renegade dance perfectly shows how this works in practice. It was created by a 14-year-old black choreographer, Jelaya Harmon, who received no credit initially, and Charlie became the face of a dance she didn't even create, purely because she looked like what the algorithm wanted to promote. Academic researchers even created a term called the D'Amelio effect to describe how white teenage influencers like Charlie get millions of followers while overshadowing black and brown creators who do the same content. Basically, it becomes controversial when pretty white girls get famous for dances that black creators invented and nobody knows the original creators' names. Charlie's success...
Whoa. So people don't know the original creators that invented, like, nah, I'm just gonna continue.
Represents our culture's disturbing shift, where talent and years of dedication mean less than having the right look at the right time. Many of the 2019 to 2020 era dance creators who do have actual technical skill have vanished, and now the entire dance era of TikTok is seen as cringe. But here is the thing about pretty privilege. It expires, and once it does, you are left completely exposed with nothing substantial to fall back on. The same audience that elevated her because she was young and attractive has grown up, and new audiences can't relate to a 20-year-old millionaire complaining about not having 100 million followers on TikTok.
I wish I had like more time. Cause imagine if I hit 100 mil a year after hitting mil.
Was the 95 not enough for you?
Now she's trapped in a prison of her own making, too old to be the relatable teenager that made her famous, but no legitimate skills to pivot towards making content for older people. Once they were famous, the D'Amelios went full corporate mode, and by January 2020, they signed with Hollywood powerhouse United Talent Agency and assigned its co-head Greg Goodfried as the president of D'Amelio Family Enterprises. They built a comprehensive team including agents, managers, and dedicated enterprise leadership, transforming from a quote normal family to corporate machine in just months. They launched an absurd amount of products: a Morph makeup line, a Dunkin' Donuts collaboration, fragrance, nail polish, mattresses, a popcorn brand, footwear, entertainment ventures including a reality show, podcast, music careers, and even a book called Essentially Charlie, as well as a venture fund called 444 Capital. Their earnings exploded in 2021, with Charlie earning $17.5 million while Dixie made $10 million. And the D'Amelio brands hit a $100 million valuation. But here's the problem. None of it connected to who they actually were, as they were just slapping the D'Amelio label on a bunch of random consumer goods. This is what happens when your foundation is pretty privilege instead of genuine talent. Without authentic connection to any skill or interest, you're just a face that can be slapped on anything. When Mr. Beast launches Feastables, it makes sense. He's known for massive giveaways and understands what excites people, especially his biggest demographic being young people. But when the D'Amelios launched popcorn, it just feels like a cash grab. While their initial success came from organic and unplanned content, the aggressive product launches felt forced and fake, driven by quick money grabs rather than genuine passion. As one Redditor put it, the whole family is only out for money. And while the over-commercialization was already damaging their brand, their next moves would destroy it completely. The first major crack in Charlie's Pretty Privilege came with their disastrous YouTube series Dinner with the D'Amelios in November 2020, which showed them being ungrateful brats to celebrity chef Erin May, with Dixie gagging at traditional Spanish food.
Sometimes happens when...
Hold up, nah, that's offensive to Spanish people. That's very offensive.
Don't be so dramatic.
Excuse yourself.
Well, Charlie just...
That chef here took a hard time working on that. And you have to spit it out.
disrespected the chef even more.
Do we have
Very
any
disrespectful.
The mask slipped. Gone was the relatable teenager, in came the entitled rich kid. The response was immediate and brutal. Charlie lost over 1 million TikTok followers in 24 hours, and fans expressed their disappointment by saying, Dixie's 19 and acting like a 5-year-old toddler. No matters at all. And seeing how Dixie was acting with the food honestly made me cry. And this was the first time audiences saw past the pretty relatable facade to...
There's a lot of people right now. That don't have food, and you have to throw it away.
glimpse their true faces underneath. But the controversy that really exposed her image's fragility was the 5-year anxiety pen lie. For years, fans defended what they claimed was an anxiety pen when critics suspected she was vaping underage. And in January 2025, Charlie finally confessed it was actually a vape.
While we're here admitting things, if TikTok's gone away, it wasn't an anxiety pen. I still to this day don't know who came up with that, but I'm sorry.
Devastating longtime supporters and causing embarrassment among fans who had supported her against the accusations. Girl, I defended you with my life. So I went to war defending you for what? This wasn't just about vaping, it was about being dishonest to her loyal fans. The authentic, relatable image that made her attractive to the algorithm was revealed as fake, and once that image crumbled, so did the pretty privilege that depended on it. And Dixie made it even worse in 2023.
My biggest goal professionally is probably to marry rich.
Despite earning $11.5 million that year, this tone-deaf comment from someone living in a mansion while regular people struggled financially perfectly captured how disconnected they'd become from the audience that made them famous in the first place. Even more telling was Charlie's reaction to the criticism. In 2023, a TikToker created a respectful and objective business analysis of the D'Amelio family's strategic mistakes, and her response to this just further damaged her relatable image.
It turns out that Charli D'Amelio was not happy that I discussed why her brand has completely and utterly failed from a marketing perspective because she just blocked me on TikTok.
And when your career is built on being likable, blocking people for politely analyzing your mistakes sends a clear message about your arrogant character. Unfortunately for the D'Amelios, monetizing Charlie's pretty privilege came with a devastating cost: their actual family relationships. Instead of protecting their children, Mark and Heidi chose to exploit their daughters' pain for content, allowing Hulu producers to actively encourage family conflict for ratings. The D'Amelio show kept exposing how the family was falling apart more and more with each season. The first episode, released on September 3rd, 2021, and the entirety of season 1, focused constantly on hate comments and victimhood.
Break up every single thing I do and make it like a negative thing.
I promise you it's going to get better.
Season 2 showed Charlie secretly taking singing lessons in secret behind Dixie's back, while Dixie was also building a music career to set herself apart from her more famous sister, creating genuine beef between the family. And Charlie totally caught Dixie off guard when the family finally revealed the secret.
When Charlie releases music, it's going to cause a lot of drama for me, and then expect it to be like, oh my god, this is so perfect. You know what? Why don't you put this song on my album and we could do it together? Like, that's how they wanted me to react. And I'm like, guys, no.
Season 3 devolved into open warfare between the sisters with real animosity on camera. The production manipulation was also disturbing, as one anonymous person who worked on the production team alleged that the parents on Hulu chose to villainize Dixie in order to distract from Charlie partying too much. And Dixie reportedly felt unsupported by her team and parents during this period. The show even revealed Mark feeling lonely, heated arguments between parents, and discussions of divorce, while Dixie expressed she was feeling in the middle of her parents' conflicts. This is what happens when you build an empire on pretty privilege instead of something sustainable. Eventually, you run out of authentic content and start feeding off your own family's destruction for views. The irony is that while the D'Amelios tried to position themselves as the first family of TikTok, they ended up destroying the very family dynamic that made them appealing in the first place. When your selling point is being a wholesome, relatable family, publicly airing your family's dysfunction for profit is brand suicide. Even their products that had made them millionaires eventually started to fail. Be Happy Snacks, their popcorn line launched in October 2022, received mixed customer reviews, with some saying I like the flavor but the popcorn quality is subpar. Morph 2, their makeup line, completely collapsed when the parent company Forma Brands, who helped handle the business side of things, filed for bankruptcy, dropping from a $2.2 billion valuation to $690 million. And despite bringing in Charlie and Dixie to attract the Gen Z consumers, they couldn't save their sales from dropping. Customer reviews were mixed at best, as the All a Blur Pore Perfecting Primer Stick held only a 3.3 out of 5 star rating, with a ton of negative comments like, "We'll never buy this one again. Doesn't work for me," and did absolutely nothing to conceal my pores, not even in the slightest. The Hint Hint Skin Tint had issues with a very oily formula, with one review calling it a greasity before being discontinued entirely. D'Amelio Footwear showed slightly better performance on their official website, but Amazon reviews revealed problems. The Marlania platform pump received complaints about the quality. They are incredibly narrow to the point of discomfort, and they are difficult to put on. Once the novelty of Charlie's face wore off, there was nothing left. No unique value proposition, no innovation, no reason for consumers to choose their products over established competitors. And despite their massive following, they couldn't save these businesses from failing. It was pretty privileged in product form, and just like the popcorn they were selling, it has an expiration date. But the statistics paint an even sadder picture. Despite maintaining 157 million TikTok followers and earning $23.5 million in 2024, her TikTok growth rate is actually at a negative 0.09%, and her Instagram growth rate is similarly at negative 0.28%, meaning she's losing followers, with her YouTube channel also being on a steep decline, losing hundreds of thousands of subscribers. More telling are engagement rates, as Instagram engagement dropped to 0.15 to 0.43%, numbers that are considered average or low for someone with their following. The same happens to her YouTube engagement, with recent YouTube videos that once would have gotten millions of views now get 37,000. Comment sections are filled with "she fell off" remarks. Just ignore her, guys, she will disappear soon. And the D'Amelio show mirrors this decline. While it did become Hulu's most watched unscripted series initially, user ratings told a very different story, with the average at 2.8 out of 10 stars. There were also numerous bad reviews on IMDb, like "Just Log Off" or "Clueless Rich People." The show was eventually destined to be cancelled after 3 seasons, suggesting that even a huge fanbase couldn't save their declining viewership. This engagement collapse isn't about just changing platforms. It's about the limitation of building an audience on pretty privilege. As mentioned throughout this video, having a weak foundation based on being pretty does not last forever. Compare this to MrBeast or other gaming streamers or comedy channels whose engagement remains consistently high because their content provides genuine value regardless regardless of trends. The D'Amelio decline becomes even more significant when you see exactly what Charlie could have done instead. Take Addison Rae, who started around the same time as Charlie and had the same pretty privilege. While Charlie was rushing into reality TV and family brand deals, Addison Rae took a completely different approach. She pivoted into traditional entertainment with acting roles. She appeared in films like He's All That and Thanksgiving, building actual skills instead of just cashing in on existing fame. Where the D'Amelios went full cash grab mode by slapping the label on random products with no connection to who they were, Addison maintained her focus. Her brand partnerships with companies like Reebok, L'Oreal, American Eagle, and Pandora feel natural because she built a clear personal brand around fashion and lifestyle first, and found partners that actually made sense. And most importantly, while Charlie's parents chose to exploit their daughters' pain for ratings, Addison kept her family relationships separate from her business pursuits. No reality show, no family brand, no turning personal relationships into products. And that's the real difference. Addison understood that being pretty and young wouldn't last forever, so she actually learned new skills, so when her TikTok dancing days were over, she had somewhere else to go. And now, all those bad choices have left Charlie completely stuck. The irony is perfect. First, she was famous for no reason, now she's not famous enough. The pretty privilege that launched her career at first now became its greatest limitation. She's no longer the relatable teenager that first drew her audience, but she is still too young and inexperienced to be taken seriously in traditional entertainment. Recent attempts at comeback have only highlighted this problem. Her Broadway debut in & Juliet shows she's trying to build real skills, but she's essentially starting over in a field where performers spend decades honing their craft. Her upcoming film roles may have provided a path forward, but they'll require her to compete on talent rather than algorithmic appeal for the very first time in her career. Despite earning millions, they've lost the authentic family bond that made them initially appealing and caused big damage to the relationship. On top of that, the D'Amelio brands, despite raising $11 million and achieving a $100 million valuation, has struggled to generate significant revenue or establish lasting market presence. Their venture capital fund 444 Capital is essentially them admitting their time as influencers is over. The uncomfortable reality is that Charli D'Amelio, now 20 years old, is starting over. She has millions of dollars but no clear path to keep her relevance, no actual expertise, and nothing compelling to say. The pretty privilege that made her famous has expired, and she's discovering that fame without foundation is meaningless. As one YouTube comment put it, TikTokers really come and go. No talent, nothing to show. And this is why they gotta be humble and thankful, instead of acting like a spoiled brat. The D'Amelio story is the perfect example about mistaking luck for talent. They achieved financial success, but lost everything in the end. For aspiring creators, the lesson is simple. Build your career on real skills and genuine value, because what the algorithm gives, it will inevitably take away. Charli D'Amelio's pretty privilege expired, and there was nothing left underneath. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like these ones as well.
Alright guys, yeah, that's it for today's video. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. But I actually saw the Alison Razor's songs. They're actually pretty good. Obviously back in 2020 they're famous now, but they were famous back then, very popular. But now, Addison's doing her thing, and we don't know about the D'Amelios. The D'Amelios, they're gonna have to sort them out. But there's one thing I don't like about the D'Amelio parents. Why do you exploit them? Just like, why do parents like to exploit them? Why do parents like to exploit their children? For YouTube. That's one thing I don't like. Anyways guys, we'll see you guys in the next one.